may be armed consistent with their mission and training. Today, none of these soldiers have military vehicles. The White House stressing that they are not making arrests, quote, at this time, but, quote, may be armed consistent with their mission and training. Today, none of these soldiers appeared to be carrying a weapon. Passersby taking pictures, some posing with the soldiers. Everyone we speak to, however, questioning the need for their presence.
Growing up here my whole life, I've never felt.
Isn't it interesting that they didn't question any of the people over here who were happily taking pictures with the National Guard? This is ABC News, all right? This is ABC News. And they have all of these people who seem to be happy that the National Guard is there to keep them safe. And then they find the one fringe person who has something bad to say.
Presence.
Growing up here my whole life, I've never felt particularly unsafe. I do hear and understand when people do express that they've had their concerns, carjackings, whatnot. But I definitely think there's just other solutions other than a fear-based.
So let's see. He hasn't particularly felt unsafe. That's coping. And then he says that there's been carjackings and whatnot. So which is it? Is there crime in your city or is there no crime in your city? Did you have a homelessness epidemic or did you not have a homelessness epidemic? Or were the pictures that we were seeing and the reports that we were seeing and the whistleblowers that came forward to say that the DC Police Department had been instructed to fudge the numbers and they'd been doing it for years to fake the drop in violent crime? You find the fringe guy who will agree with your narrative and then leave out the people who are clearly happy to see the National Guard.
Solution like this.
The Trump administration seeing it very differently, with Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel both reporting on X a surge in arrests over the weekend, with a total of 380 since the federal operation began. DC's police union also reporting week-to-week drops in several categories of crime. And that military presence will now be growing, with the governors of West Virginia, Ohio, and South Carolina announcing over the weekend that they're sending as many as 750 more Guard members to D.C.
Anytime you have a surge of...
All right, so I want to find the narrative for undocumenteds being arrested. So I'm going to skip forward. If you're watching this after the fact, I hope you bear with us, because we essentially are trying to thread the needle where there's so much happening and we just need to go straight to the point. There we are. So let's go for it.
2 fewer reports of assaults with a weapon, 10 fewer robberies, and 18 fewer vehicle thefts. Burglaries, however, did actually go up by more than double since that takeover. We'll get back out to Rebecca Turco now at Union Station as we're...
Okay. This narrative is weird because he's actually saying that some types of crimes went up. I'm trying to understand the angle that ABC is taking on this. They're literally saying that crime went up. So we're going to go back and we're going to start from here.
Thank you. And as you just heard Brad say, the DC Police Union has praised the assistance of federal agents over the last week. They've talked about significant drops in crime compared to the week before.
All right, so this is the DC Union giving their feedback.
Federal law enforcement stepped in to help. There were 2 fewer reports of assaults with a weapon, 10 fewer robberies, and 18 fewer vehicle thefts. Burglaries, however, did actually go up by more than double since that takeover. We'll get back out to Rebecca Turco now at...
All right, so ABC is calling the police union liars.
Union Station, as we're also learning about 40% of people who've been arrested are undocumented immigrants.
Criminal, illegal immigrants. Undocumented is people who overstayed their visa. Oh no, undocumented, yeah, those aren't undocumented. If you came in with a visa, you're not undocumented. Okay, so these are criminal, illegal immigrants. You crossed the border, you committed a crime against the country, you entered illegally. It is a crime. So let's not conflate things, all right? It's so dishonest for us to continue to hear this and just let it skate by. They've succeeded. ABC, TDSBC, and company have gaslit the entire world into believing that someone who breaks into your country illegally is not a criminal, right? Someone who is in your country illegally is not a criminal, right? What is the definition of illegal? Someone who committed a crime. So why is it so hard to understand? Are we empathetic to the fact that there are people who struggle to live in their own countries and they need to move to a new country in order to get the opportunities that they lack in the countries that they came from? Yes, we are empathetic with them, but they should do it legally. They should do it legally. No one has a right to live in the United States but the citizens of the United States. No one has a right to the United States but the citizens of the United States, and to those that they extend an invitation to come in. That is the way it works everywhere. That's the way it works where people are sane. And so, sorry for the rant, but I can't help it when I run into the insanity that comes from outlets like this.
And that's according to the White House. Rebecca, were any of those people arrested by local police targeted by ICE?
So that's what we're still working to learn at this point. I've been working all day to get answers from the White House, from ICE, and various other agencies to work to get to the bottom of that. We're learning more about the 380 plus arrests made in D.C. since August 7th, when more federal agents started coming in. A White House official says more than 160 of the people arrested are undocumented, including suspected gang members and those with other charges like assault and kidnapping. But how many of those people were arrested just on their immigration status? The White House wouldn't clarify, and ICE never got back to me.
All right, so this report is important, and I hope you follow me on this. When a city is overrun with crime and you have undocumented immigrants, they may not be committing violent crime. They're trying to make a living. They're under the radar, just trying to make a living. And then the federal government steps in to deal with the criminal situation or the crime situation that is affecting the citizens of the country or of the city. And in order to do that, they have to do stop and search. They need to stop and frisk. They need to do certain things which are the practice of law enforcement when they're brought into a situation where the criminals have been running rampant for a while. In a bid to do job A, they then begin to find out that, oh, you have a broken tail light, like in the last report that we covered. You have a broken tail light. Okay, that's a violation. You need to look into that. This other thing that you did, comes up. Okay, you're not driving with a seatbelt. That's a problem. And then you run into this guy who can't provide you with ID because Washington, D.C. is a sanctuary city. And most of the illegal immigrants flee to these cities to avoid being deported. And then because Washington, D.C. did not take care of the crime in their city, a flashlight was shown on their city, and the unintended results happen where illegal immigrants get caught up in the dragnet. That's the way it works. I hope you followed me so far. That's the way it works. Now, if it's hard for people on the left to understand that creating problems in your city inadvertently creates more problems, not just for the citizens, but for other people that you want to be compassionate to. They're trying to be compassionate to people who enter their country illegally. But in overlooking the crime rate in their city, they are bringing the full weight of the American justice system on that city to solve the crime problem. And whoa, what do we have here? a few criminal illegal immigrants trying to go to their under-the-table jobs get stopped with no ID. They get ushered into ICE detention. That's the way the world works. And so when you have ABC joining the chorus with NBC, mewling about crime, law enforcement being law and order being enforced, it is comedic to watch. It is sad for those who get caught up in it, who are honestly just trying to make a living in the United States. However, there are laws on the books that need to be followed. Let's look at the comment section, and we will just read a couple of comments because, it is part of what we do here. We try to see what people in these spaces say, because, when you're a conservative and you only circle the conservative space, it's easy to find yourself in a bubble, okay? And if we accuse leftists of being in a bubble, we should also avoid being in a bubble ourselves. So that's why we open up and try to see what the guys on the left are saying. So here's what these commenters on ABC are saying. Safer because we reclassified crimes as other crimes to remove them from the books, while activist judges let people off as not guilty despite evidence. Okay, I am surprised. I am surprised. This is Xavier Magnus 8310. Right, common sense comment. Richard Caldron says, that mayor does not speak the truth. We need rule of law. Oh my goodness. ABC is being ratioed on their own platform. Clyde Denby 1436 said, Washington, D.C. should be the cleanest and safest city in the country. State governors should make their capitals the safest in their states, and then on down to the municipal levels. Hard stop. I am surprised. I thought I would meet the same crowd as I saw on MSNBC, but clearly, deport Governor Polis of Colorado. He's destroying Colorado. All right, enough said. ABC, you guys have a diverse crowd from what I can see. Congratulations. God bless our police officers in all 50 states. Amen. Just because you went from 4th worst city to 8th worst city in the country, it's not deserving of a pat on the back. Oh my goodness. We need law and order. God bless the troops. They need these cops in the dark areas of the city. All right, I could read these comments all day.